So in the previous video we have covered simulation part. In this video we'll cover rendering, layout, lighting, and materials using Solaris. In the object level we have I have render nodes, geometry nodes, which basically uses all of them uses object merge, and only ship on the ship I have computed a velocity field. This is purely for motion blur, because by default ship doesn't have any motion blur, and this trial SOP allows me to add this motion blur. And I have also changed the velocity scale, because by default it was too large for me, for my taste, so I decreased it. And I have also rotated the ship for the second simulation, for the second shot, and I have added a null to output it, to reference it basically, using SOP import node. I will show you just in a second. And all of the other geometry nodes is basically the same thing. And volume geometry has also a velocity calculated, as you can see here. Oops. So all of them are pretty much the same thing. And in the tubes I have also, I have just exported tubes only. Yeah. And let's dive into the Solaris. And let's start with the first scene. And as you can see, tubes are completely different from what I have shown in my final, render, and this is because I have changed them in my first video where we have covered geometry, creating geometry, and now we have a completely different look. And let's drop the sample count to 100, so it renders faster a little bit, and let's see what it looks like. And while it's rendering, I will show you what the node graph looks like. So basically I have created two streams for the first scene and for the second scene. And I have also attached a screenshot from the first and second shot. This is basically a reminder of how everything looks like and where I want to head it, and where I'm now and where I want to head. So now it's rendered, and it looks differently from the final render I did. But yeah, and the lights is also changed a little bit also. So keep it in mind. Now I will show you the node graph. Basically, it's pretty basic setup, I would say. The blue boxes is where all geometry has been loaded. Yellow boxes is where all lights are located. Kind of purple, pink color is where all the materials, and red is for the rendering. And here we also have a fog. And the teal color, or whatever it's called, is where the simulation loaded from the SOP level. So basically, let's start with the ship. Here I have imported big lights, small lights, and then merge them together. They have a not correct orientation in this case, and I have also added the render geometry settings. So this geometry is being treated as a light source. You can also use this geometry. It's basically a geometry light node. And here is the ship itself. And if we merge everything together, this is how it looks like. And here I have imported simulation itself, and if we preview it, here's how it looks like. So works as expected. And here I have imported a rest of the geometry, which is blobs. I have duplicated them to change them in different places. And the same thing goes to the other blob. Then I merge them together, as well as with bubble grounds, but the static one. And here I have also imported the tubes and scale them up. And here I have created a karma fog box. And then when you merge everything together, it looks like this. And the fog, karma fog, is pretty much covers the entire scene. So yeah. And for the lights, I'm not sure what to tell you. I will just show you where they're placed. I don't know the light theory. I have placed them whatever feels right to me. That's pretty much it. And here, where all the light sources have been located. So first one, second one. Let me actually show you this. Second one, third one under the top. Fifth. Oh, I'm sorry, fourth. And this is for the foreground. And if you look for the camera, oh, we can see, I can't see it. And this light is right next to the camera. This is green stuff is the camera. And one is on the top to add additional light to the spaceship itself. And this one is under the ground. And this is for to create this light effect. I would say when the ship, oops, just basically to emit additional light. And yeah, here it is. Like this white spot, which is been lit from the bottom. So yeah. And then I have also didn't use the light mixer, but I have imported it. But in any case, you can use it also. You can use it to control light more efficiently without going to individual light itself. But instead of using a light mixer, like just you drag and drop everything together and then control everything from here instead of how I did it. And what about materials? Let me actually enable it. And if we disable everything here, to create a material, you need to have a material library if you didn't already have a material. And if you dive inside of it, we can create materials here. I have used the Material X shader, which is a new one. Material X standard. And materials itself is a very simple one. Each of the material has a subsurface scattering, with a different subsurface scale to I won't be explaining what it does because I'm not the texturing artist, and yeah, I have tweaked it, tweaked the settings to my liking, and that's pretty much it. But all of the ground objects has a subsurface scattering except from the tubes, for the tubes. And here is my settings. Like, I'm not sure what to tell you about them, at least for now, because I don't know too much of the what is going on here. This is pure exploration, basically. And yeah, and then I have created a material assign node, where you have to select a primitive you want to assign your material to, and then you can and then you need to pick a material you want to assign. And if you're using material library, all the materials will be inside the materials path. But I guess it's defined in the material library node. You can change it to whatever you want, and then you can use this path to select your materials, which will be inside the material library node. And then I have done the same procedure to all of the other materials, primitives. And for the ship material, I have imported a texture for the ship. And the way I have done it, you can watch videos which are already present on the internet, but in general, you have this MTLX image where you can choose the file name of your texture, and then you plug it to the base color, roughness to the roughness, diffuse roughness, metal to the metalness, emissive to the emission, and normal to the normal, excuse me, and pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And the same thing goes for the second material, the ship, exactly the same thing. And for the lights, I have only enabled an emission and set it to 50. I guess it's not working as I expected, but let me know what I did wrong, if you know. But by wrong, I mean they're not emitting enough light as I expected it to emit. But I expect with the value of 50 to emit like a large portion of light, but actually the lights emitting like not very little. But actually lights has a very light emission. And if you assign materials to the ship, the ship will look like this. And here you can also see an emission light from the ship, from the lights, I'm sorry. And the way I have selected this render region is by using this. We actually disable it. I have used this button option, render region, and then I left click and select region to render. And here you can clear render region to clear it. And you can just render portion of your image to see how everything looks like. So yeah. And finally, to the camera, I have changed the focal length to 30, and at the same time I changed the f-stop and the focus distance And the way I change the focus distance is by using Shift F, and I have played around. Oh, excuse me, I have, oops, sorry. You can shift click where you want your focus to be applied, and Shift F to see your focus plane, and Shift click is to click where you want your focus to be. And for the cameras, it's pretty much it, nothing more. And for the camera settings, I have enabled a motion blur and checked the velocity blur to be a velocity blur. I have decreased the geometry time samples and transform time samples to 1 because it was too much for my taste before. I have increased the diffuse limit, SSS, and volume limits, and I have changed the light sample quality. I'm not sure why I changed it. I'm not sure if it's really needed. I'm not a lighting artist. I'm not a rendering artist. I will explore it deeper later if it doesn't make sense for the scene right now. Yeah. And here I have changed the default camera to my actual camera name, and I changed the render engine to XPU, and here for the final render I have used the 500 samples. And under the image filters, image output filters, and I have used the denoiser, which I forgot to export for the actual passes I have here. Yeah, but for the passes, it's actually fairly easy to create AOVs. So, for example, you can output a combined diffuse, you can export a direct or indirect. I have exported albedo, volume, combined emission, combined glossy, diffuse, and I have also under the beauty, which I can done actually here. I guess I would need to do it in order to export every light separately instead of how I done it using a beauty pass. And here I have split lights per LPE tag. I'm not sure what it does. I have saw in one of official Houdini videos about Solaris. But the main thing on how to create it is under Karma. You scroll down, you use set to create, and use an IS to create an LPA tag. I'm not sure what it is and how it works, but in the end, when you could do a compositing, you can actually tweak every light in the compositing. Yeah, and this is what this checkbox does. In the second render, I have enabled this option here, which I guess would make more sense because it's under light options. I'm not sure exactly, but in the second render I have here enabled this option instead of under the beauty pass. So yeah, I'm not sure how it properly works and how it should be done. And here I have rendered from the 0 to 12 frames I have rendered here, and 11 to 12 is I have additionally rendered a few frames just to, and this is pretty much it for the first scene. And the second scene is exactly the same, but in the battleground scene we have this simulation which is rotated 90 degrees in the SOP level. I have also created a fog, carbon fog, and here we have only four lights, and 2 of them are sphere lights in this one background, and they also have an LPE tag output. Oh, I'm sorry, 6 lights. And here I have a light linker, which basically what it does. In the most basic explanation, it creates a link to a certain primitive which you want to light, to be affected. Meaning, if, for example, if you want this sphere to affect only this blob. Only this blob. You can use, you can drag and drop, for example. You can use this blob. Let's say it's this one, and you have this option, checkbox, and I forgot how it pronounces, cross or whatever. And here you use you provide a primitive. You want your light to be affected only, and let's say this is a big blob only one, big ground blob one, and so this light, this sphere light, will only produce light which will be affected only visible only on this ground blob too, and every other object in the scene will not be affected by this light source. And you can create as many like rules, light rules as you want. As I said, I'm not a lightning artist, but this is purely exploration. And this is how many light rules I have. And after that, the same procedure goes. Materials for the ship, which is here. And here's what camera options looks like. I have also animated camera, just to go from left to right. And in the camera settings, on the light emission, I have also split visible lights per LP tag. And here I have also enabled on the filters image, on the denoiser, I have also select which AMVs denoiser will affect, meaning where to apply denoise pass to. So you can apply denoise pass to like this light and don't apply to this light. You can here where you can do it. And here I also render it with OpenColor.io. I'm not sure if I should select these planes, but I have checked them. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the. I have also rendered 40 frames, and that's pretty much it for the whole project, I would say. Yeah. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. I hope you found something useful. I hope you liked it. I hope you have a great day, great life. Wish you a lot of joy, and see you in the next project creation, where I will explain it a little bit more clearly. Yeah, see you. Have a great day.